Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Western civilization, and the United States in particular, is at risk. I say this because this is exactly what happened to my country 45 years ago. Iran, you might say, was the testing grounds for what my late father called the unholy alliance of the red and the black, radical Marxism and radical Islamism. These two ideologies converged not to create, but to destroy. Indeed, to destroy the very notion of Iran. As the Ayatollah Khomeini himself, upon his return to Iran, said, "Patriots are of no use to us. We need Muslims. Islam is opposed to nationalism, because nationalism means we want a nation, nationhood, and not Islam." He quickly put his ideology into action. Our National Consultative Assembly became the Islamic Consultative Assembly. Our conventional National Army was shunned in favor of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The lion and sun symbol, which adorned our national flag for centuries, was replaced with Allahu Akbar. This united front of Marxists and Islamists took hold of my homeland, but was never satisfied with just taking over Iran, as these two ideologies do not believe in the concept, much less the border of a nation. Indeed, the Islamic Republic in Iran does not view itself as defending or limited to the borders of the Millat, or the Iranian nation, but rather the Ummat, or the Islamic Brotherhood. This expansion has gone far beyond the Middle East. Every day, we see graphic, distressing images of the consequences this regime's expansion has brought all the way to Europe and the West. From looting universities that were once the envy of the world, to supporting terrorist cells taking hold in Europe, to attempting to annihilate Israel, to expanding its criminal footprint to Latin America. This is not an accident. This is the Islamic Republic's political strategy. I invite you to read yesterday's statement and grave warning from the Director of National Intelligence on this matter. Sadly, this has all too often been ignored by many in the mainstream media and the fellow travelers who have come to dominate the commentariat class. Even this week, we are seeing this fifth column of the Islamic regime rear its ugly head in the media to try to convince you that the Islamic Republic's new president is a reformist. He is no such thing. He is nothing but a loyalist and lackey of this regime, and a proponent of its radical imperialist ideology. As he publicly wrote to the Hezbollah Secretary General, reiterating the regime's commitment to its proxies and their terror just this week. Indeed, the rise of radical Islam around the world can be traced directly back to the success of the Islamic Revolution in Iran and the establishment of this usurping anti-Iranian regime, backed by a minority and sustained through oppression and violence. The problem that began in Iran must be ended in Iran. But do not mistake this as a war between Iran and the West, nor a call for one. It is neither. This is not a conflict between nation states, but the war of a radical internationalist ideology on all nations, from the Iranian nation to your own. Indeed, it was the great and historic nation of Iran that was the first victim of this unholy alliance and of the resulting Islamic Republic. For 45 years, Iran has been taken captive, and my compatriots have been held hostage. They have been held hostage not by American sanctions or Western policies, but by radical Islamism. But Western political elites have indeed been accomplices, not only in my compatriots being held hostage, but accomplices in the crimes against your own citizens and nations. The chief accomplice of the Ayatollahs in their violent march to their global caliphate has been American political naivete about the true nature of this regime and European guilt and fears of Islamophobia. You do not have to fight the war against this poisonous and murderous ideology on your own, but you must be aware that it is waging war against you. I do have good news, because there is an army rising up against this poisonous ideology, this unholy alliance. That army is the Iranian people, the united Iranian people. Today, I come to you with a message from that rising army, that nation under captivity, those citizens taken hostage. The Islamic Republic may have taken hold of Iran, but it has never taken hold of Iranians' love of country. Today, Iran, inspired by our ancient history and our great civilization, is in the throes of a national revival, a national reawakening, a national renaissance. Iranians are proud, strong people with a proud, storied history, and are not willing to lose it to this unholy alliance. As my compatriots on the streets or at the tomb of Cyrus the Great chant, we will fight, we will die, we will reclaim Iran.